Happy holidays! It's Shawnee. Welcome back. Today I'm going to tell you about the best and worst products that I tried this year. It was a pleasure, it was a displeasure, and now you get to hear all about it. So, why don't we just hop right in? Now, one of the best products I have tried this year, hands down, the Danessa Myricks Blurring Skin Balm Powder. This came out and I jumped on it, okay? This is the shade 9. I originally bought the shade 8, but that was a little too light, so I exchanged it for 9. And I mean, can you tell I like it? I enjoy this balm so much. I like the little scooper thing, though I don't really use it except for now that I'm trying to like scoop the sides of it. I have it in the color for my like wearing as a foundation, and then I also have the universal shade, which also has pan in it, if you can see that. I just haven't been using it as much. As soon as I started to hit pan, I was like, okay, give me a second. I need to like slow it down and chill out on using this and make sure to use my other products. I mentioned recently that I've already reordered a universal and the shade 9 for my foundation. I kind of hope that she comes out with a couple more shades. There are 10 shades in the universal. Now, I didn't realize that I was already like there's 9 and then there's 10. And I wanted to try using it as like a contour or bronzer or something, but I think I need like an 11 or a 12 or something. So hopefully she comes out with more shades. I also saw the cutest little like set that she had with like a mini of the universal, I believe, and one of her other Yummy Skin products. That is adorable. I didn't get it because I don't need it, but like that ever stops me. Okay, but in contrast, something else from that line, the Yummy Skin line, that I found to be like the worst, or just like I don't really use it as much, is the Yummy Skin Serum Foundation. Now, I will say that my skin does look yummy when I wear this, but it's like the yumminess of a glazed donut. Do you know what I mean? Shiny. And I think that's because that's just how it's made, and it just feels for me on my skin like a little tacky and just like it doesn't dry down. Now again, with Danessa Myricks you need a teeny tiny drop of it, but I just don't find myself really using it. I'm gonna dedicate some more time to it, but it's just not my zhuzh right now. I have it in the shade 20W. I believe I initially had 21 and that was a little too deep. I seem to not do super well with her more like liquid products, liquid complexion products. I get on very well with her balms and creams and things like that. Like I really enjoy her contour, her bronzer. The liquids, I guess, that I like are the matte Color Fix. But this isn't my favorite. This goes in the nah category. Sticking with foundation, there are 2 that I recently got that have become favorites fast and quick. The first one is the YSL All Hours Foundation with Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 30 Luminous Matte Foundation. Now, I have the shade DN7, and I really like this foundation. I wanted to be bougie. I wanted something from Yves Saint Laurent. And so I was like, let me get the foundation. I've always wanted to try one of their complexion products, and I really like this foundation. It's long wearing. It really is a luminous matte, and I don't find that I look oily. Now, my oils do come through towards the end of the day. I would say like 6 hours in, 8 hours in, but I found that if I use my Charlotte Tilbury spray the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, if I use it as a primer and then go in with the foundation, it lasts a lot longer without getting oily. Now, when the oiliness does come through, I'm able to easily tone that down by just using a sponge and kind of blotting my face, or even if I put a little bit more powder on. But I really, really like this, and I think it's something that I would definitely repurchase as I get to the end of it. The other foundation is the Sephora Best Skin Ever foundation. It's described as having a perfect natural finish, long wear foundation, and it's anti-pollution, which I don't quite understand just yet. But even without that, I really do like this foundation. It does definitely have a natural finish. I do find it to be long wearing, and I can appreciate anything that's anti-pollution, I guess. I have really enjoyed this foundation. I know it's been out for a while, but I finally went ahead and purchased it during the most recent VIB sale. Along with that, I got some of the concealers, the Best Skin Ever Concealer Full Coverage Multi-Use, and I have it in 2 shades because initially I got the shade 59N and noticed that that was actually a great foundation shade. So then I picked up the foundation in 59N, and I wanted a lighter concealer, so then I went in and got 53.5N. So the concealer is definitely full coverage. You can tell the difference between the coverage of the concealer and the coverage of the foundation. I would say the foundation is more medium. So I'll go in with the foundation and then I'll take the concealer and spot conceal areas where I want a bit more coverage. The only downside to this product, and I don't even know that it's a downside, is that the shades are deeper than you think they're gonna be. So like, I did not think that 59N was going to be my foundation color. I thought it was going to be a good concealer color, so like 1 to 2 shades lighter than my skin tone, and I was wrong. Even with the 53.5, I feel like I can go even lighter if I wanted to. So that's something to be aware of. If you think you found your shade, you might want to bump up a couple just to make sure that you actually get one that matches your skin tone. Speaking of concealers, let me tell you about 2 that I didn't like and I no longer have. They are both of the Dior concealers, the Backstage one and the other one. That Backstage concealer was so drying under my eyes, I have like never, ever seen my eyes looking like that. Like, it was like the Sahara Desert meets like a dry rub for your meat. Like, it just was so dry and crinkly, and I was like, didn't know that a product could age me 15 years until I came across the Backstage concealer from Dior, which is crazy because I love the Backstage foundation. Like, the Backstage foundation is awesome. I really enjoy it. I don't know why they just didn't shrink the packaging down and call it a concealer, because they did something different with the concealer, and whatever it is, they should stop that immediately. I hated that concealer, and I was so surprised and so disappointed because I was like, dude, I love me some Dior Backstage foundation, but apparently, honey, that concealer does not love me back. So then I was like, let me try the other concealer because people spoke highly of it. I didn't like that one either. It was real like orange on me. So those both were returned. I'm just like, that one, that was disappointing. What wasn't disappointing are the Colored Rain Powder Bronzer and Cream Blush. Now, I had been looking for an orange cream blush for a while, and I just gouged the living hell out of this. How did that even happen? Like, it's really trying to literally like jump off the favorites list. But here is the cream blush in the shade Spicy from Colored Rain. I like the formula. It's pretty smooth and very easy to work with, very easy to gouge out with your long nails, but it's like the perfect orange for a deeper skin tone, and they often are on sale, so you know, I love anything that's on sale. Along with that, I really enjoyed their powder bronzers. I ended up getting one that was a little too deep, which is this one. Yeah, today we're having issues. Okay. This is Mocha Queen. So I found this to be a little deep. So I went ahead and got the shade up from that, and it is Naughty Spice. And this one fits me a bit better. You can see the difference here. So it does go pretty deep, I think. So if you have a darker skin tone, these are great. They're powder and they are lasting pretty long. Like there's 8.5 grams in here. It's actually the same size as the blush, but in the blush there is 8 grams. So this has 0.5 less grams than the bronzer. But I have really been enjoying these. These have become probably the only powder bronzer I have right now. I do have a couple of cream bronzers from other brands, including Danessa Myricks. Okay. Another bronzer that I really like, a powder bronzer, is from Lethal Cosmetics. I'm going to talk more about Lethal in like the brands I tried this year video. Lethal has face powders. I initially started out with their eyeshadows, and then I was like, oh my god, they have face powders? I need to try them. So I got a couple of face powders. Some are designated as bronzers, some are designated as blush, some are highlighters. These are only 3 that I put in here, but this one here, Zenith, is the one that I use as a bronzer, and I have been enjoying it. As you can see, I have hit pan on it. I have it in this little kit pack, which is something I happened upon this year. This is what I often will use when I'm putting single shadows and things in my bag to take to work to do my makeup. And this bronzer has stayed put in there the whole time. Now, I love that bronzer a lot, but I also love the blushes, and I think I got one highlighter because I'm not a huge highlighter person, but the blushes are so different, and these powders are very pigmented. I just need a little bit of a tap on my brush and I get the intensity of color that I'm looking for. So the Lethal face powders, definitely things that you should try, especially if you've already tried their eyeshadows and like them. The face powders are just amazing. Amazing. Okay, I think I have 2 more items that are on my worst list, but let me double check. Okay, before we go to the 2 worst ones, I do have another best, and that is the Fenty Beauty setting powder. Now, this is just a mini. I bought the mini as well as the mini foundation, which I had already used a ton and actually panned like 2-3 bottles. I bought the mini to throw in my bag for when I do my makeup at work. And I initially bought the honey shade. And what I did was I compared the honey shade on one side and the Laura Mercier translucent honey on another side, and you could see the difference. I do love the Laura Mercier one, but the honey shade from Fenty had such a, it wasn't like ashy. It was sort of perfect. Whereas the honey shade in the Laura Mercier powder, if you compare the two, it leaned a little ashen, while the honey one from the Fenty was like warmer and there was more of a golden kind of glow to my skin. That powder, I understand why so many people love it. It sets your face so well. The colors are spot on. I now have 2 shades in the minis just because I wanted to try one that was closer to my skin tone, and I enjoyed them both. They are definitely the powders that I keep in my bag now for doing my makeup at work. I don't even take my mini Laura Mercier one. I just take one of the Fenty ones. So those are all the best. I've told you about a couple of worst, and now I'm going to tell you about the worst of the worst. Which one do I start with? I'm going to start with this Linda Hallberg Cosmetics palette. Now, this is the Daybreak palette, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that looks nice. It has like the pinks and the purples, and then you've got these 2 shades here that you can use as cake liner. I was like, I want to try it. Now, before purchasing this from Linda Hallberg, I had only gotten her cosmetic sponge as well as her blotting powder, which I don't even know where that is because I barely use it. It's not a worst product for me though. It's just that I have lots of compact powders and that one just doesn't go to the top of like amazingness. But this palette was so disappointing, and I went in thinking that maybe it wouldn't be great because of an Instagram friend, Looks and Pans. She'd also purchased it, and I really like the way she does her makeup, and she like hated the palette, and she wanted to know what I thought about it. So when I bought it, I was going in like, if she hates it, but I was like, no, we'll be fine. Now, I did really like one of the looks that I did with this. It was a pinky purple look, and it was stunning. It was bright, it was bold, it was in your face, but I did feel like I had to do a lot of work to get it there, like a lot of building up the shade, and it was just like, wasn't worth it, even if the look I did, like I liked it. You know what I mean? And even trying it again, like if you are the kind of person that does appreciate a softer, more subtle, muted look, then I think you actually will like this palette. If you are someone who prefers the more like boom pow, you're gonna get that from like 3 shades in here, and that's like a third of the palette already. So, you know, a good amount of the palette will not give you the thing that you're looking for. This palette actually, I'm probably going to declutter it. Like I like that purple look I created, but I don't like it enough just to keep it for those like 3 shades. And it really made me not want to purchase anything else from the brand. They seem like a very nice brand, and I wish that I liked this more than I do, but I don't. Now, the one and only Hourglass. They came out with these palettes, some face palettes, the like tiger, elephant, and I don't know, ostrich. I don't know what the animals are, but I got the tiger palette, which seemed to be geared towards like darker skinned folks. Now, that palette was, I went back and forth on it. I don't even have it anymore. I returned it. I was debating it, and there was a huge part of me that was like, don't get that palette. You don't really want it. You're still kind of iffy about Hourglass. But instead, I listened to the quieter voice that was like, buy it. Buy it now. I need to stop listening to that voice. So I bought it. I got it, I opened it, I was disappointed, and I was like, okay, hold on, let's try it, because I do have their ambient lighting palette volume 3, and this is the one they okie-doked us into thinking would be a little bit deeper. Even with that though, even with the okie-doke, I like this more than I like the Tiger palette. The Tiger palette came with 6 different shades. Like I think 2 or 3 were blushes. One was supposed to be like a finishing powder. and then like highlighters, and they were like, meh. Like they didn't show up super well on me. The blushes did. I would say the blushes, like 2 blushes were the ones that actually really showed up on my deeper skin tone. Now I have seen people who have a lighter skin tone than me look amazing in that palette. For me in my house, no, girl. It was like, it didn't hurt my heart because it's Hourglass and they still have not gotten it right for deeper skin tones. It didn't hurt my heart, but it hurt me personally that I didn't go with like my gut feeling of like, girl, you not gonna like this. Don't buy that palette, especially for $80, or is it $85? Do not buy that palette for that much money. Like, if you're lighter than me and you think you can make it work, girl, wait for a sale, okay? And this is my bias about Hourglass. Like, I just feel like they don't want to make products for darker skinned folks. And I wish that they would just come out and say that and stop trying to okey doke us. And I need to stop falling for the okey doke. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up using this, the Ambient Lighting Volume 3, but I think that I'm done with Hourglass for the most part. The only other thing I have from them that I've had for quite a while is their their Veil Translucent Setting Powder, and it's the powder that I hardly ever use this. So I'm gonna make it a point to finish those 2 products. And you know, I really actually did like their concealer, but I think I gotta be done with them because they just keep dropping the ball, and I would rather they just be like, hey, we not gonna make products for you, and just be real and upfront about it, and just stop. Either stop or get it right. So those are the palettes and the foundations and the blushes and bronzers and whatever else I talked about that have been the best and the worst that I've tried this year. Let me know some of the stuff that you've tried that you've loved and that you've hated. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that some of this was helpful. I hope you are having a happy holiday season. I think that's it. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to like the video for me, and I will see you next time.